Palmer's Cocoa Butter Formula Skin Therapy Oil.
Good morning, America. Blizzard watch. A massive storm heading to the East Coast. The nation's capital paralyzed by snow and ice right now, causing wreck after wreck on the road. Drivers stuck for hours. Even the president's motorcade trapped by gridlock. Schools closed with more than 2 feet of snow expected in some areas.
Breaking right now, pointing the finger at Putin. The Russian president accused of using a radioactive poison to kill one of his most famous critics. Will he be charged with murder?
Take a look at this. A pickup truck out of control on the highway rolling over and sending a passenger flying into the air. How he walked away from this frightening wreck.
And an ABC News exclusive. Will Smith speaking out for the first time this morning about the backlash over the Oscar nominations.
That's not the industry, that's not the America I want to leave behind.
What the two-time Oscar nominee is saying about the growing calls to skip this year's Oscars. Will he be there for Hollywood's biggest night? Only on GMA.
Live in Times Square. This is Good Morning America.
And Good Morning America. Let's say hi to Robin in L.A. You sat down with Will Smith, Robin, and boy, he's right in the middle of that big debate over diversity in the Oscars.
He really is, George. He's one of the biggest stars in the world. One of the reasons for the outrage over the Oscar nominations, many thought he should have been among the nominees for his role in the movie Concussion. We're going to hear what he has to say about the lack of diversity in Hollywood. And also, did he even know that his wife Wjla was going to post that video seen by millions? We'll discuss that too.
I think you're leading us to a possible answer right there. Okay. Thanks, Robin. We're going to start, though, with that monster winter storm. Blizzard watch for New York and Washington. And America's capital has already been hit hard by a different storm.
Absolutely. We're going to give you right now a live look at a highway in Washington right now. Less than 2 inches of snow, but it's causing chaos. And get ready, because 2 feet is on the way.
They are getting ready right now, and Rob is in Alexandria, Virginia with the latest. Rob, you are right in the middle of all the preparations. That is a lot of salt behind you.
Can you believe this, George? It's incredible. This is 3 times the normal size of a salt dome you'd see on a typical highway. 22,000 tons of this is going to be spread across northern Virginia using 4,000 trucks in anticipation of this storm. This is going to be the bullseye, we think, for the most snowfall as we go through time, and with the snow beginning here in earnest on Friday. But they certainly could have used this last night, because it was less than 2 inches of snow that brought D.C., Baltimore, and northern Virginia to a crawl. David Curley has that part of the story. David?
Rob, it was a mess last night. Believe me, I was in it. And yes, they could have used the salts and pre-treatment. State of Maryland didn't treat some of their state roads. They didn't think this 2 inches of snow was going to be a big deal. This interstate behind me last night was gridlock. Even the president got stuck in traffic. A half-hour trip took an hour and 15 minutes. It was a mess.
This morning, the East Coast waking up to the surprising and crippling winter storm. Whiteout conditions, icy roads causing wreck after wreck.
Almost wrecked twice, and I almost seen another wreck. It's been crazy.
Virginia troopers responding to more than 200 crashes. The nation's capital paralyzed overnight. D.C. caught off guard by the snow. Untreated roads and highways slick with ice, causing many motorists to slip and slide.
I thought as soon as I got on the road that it was going to be a bad idea.
All this from less than 2 inches of snowfall. Still, it was enough to delay even the leader of the free world. The president's motorcade trapped by the gridlock, ping-ponging from curb to curb on a frozen street. Thousands more going nowhere fast, stuck for hours on icy roads.
It was pretty rough driving home, and it took an hour to get 4 miles. So then we decided to walk, and it's pretty icy on the roads too when you're walking.
This D.C. area highway becoming a parking lot.
They can move.
Forcing this family to walk home.
You don't know for how long it will take. 1 hour, 2 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. No one knows.
This morning, many fearing what is still to come, with parts of the mid-Atlantic expecting up to 2 feet of snow.
And it is still a mess this morning. Traffic is moving, but there's a big problem going into the district just down the road here. And sad news, just a couple of hours ago, a couple of miles from here, a pedestrian hit by a snowplow and killed. So dangerous conditions here in D.C., Lara.
Yeah, dangerous indeed, David. Thank you so much. And as we just saw, the storm causing chaos in the south before it makes its way to the northeast. At this hour, the Gulf Coast bracing for severe weather, including tornadoes, high winds, even hail. We want to get back to Rob with that.
Hey, Lara, multifaceted storm, as you mentioned. It's going to tap moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, and it's got a decent amount of energy. This thing packed a punch when it hit the West Coast, and it's got a lot of jet stream juice with it as well. So an enhanced risk of seeing thunderstorms that could produce severe weather, including tornadoes across Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. Then it moves up into the cold air, and now we have a newly issued blizzard watch for New York City, northeast New Jersey, and Long Island for blowing and drifting snow as this thing makes its way to the north, and widespread winter storm watches. Here's what we expect to see as this thing develops. The worst day is going to be Saturday and Saturday night. We're thinking potentially up to 2 feet or more, especially west of D.C., but there's a sharp cutoff as you go up to Philadelphia. Well, they'll probably see about a foot, and then New York City gets a little bit dicey, but the wind is going to be blowing. We're going to see coastal flooding, big waves, and it doesn't have to be snowing a lot, George and Lara, to get blizzard conditions. That wind is a pretty good bet, so it is going to be a nasty, nasty weekend. Back up to you.
Understatement, perhaps.
The kids are bracing for a snow day, but it's happening on a Saturday.
Yeah,
well.
Sorry, guys.
We're going to turn now to that breaking news. A report just released saying that Russian President Vladimir Putin, quote, probably approved the poisoning of a former KGB officer and critic. ABC's Lama Hassan is in London with the story. Good morning, Lama.
That's right. Good morning to you, George. This morning, a bombshell conclusion pointing the finger straight at Russian President Vladimir Putin. The 300-page report saying Putin, quote, probably approved the assassination of former KGB officer Alexander Litvinenko. Litvinenko, a fierce critic of Putin, was reportedly poisoned by 2 former Russian security service agents after drinking tea laced with radioactive polonium-210 10 years ago at a London hotel. Litvinenko's wife welcoming the report, saying the words her husband said on his deathbed, accusing the Russian president of his death, have been proved in court today. Moscow is calling the report politically motivated. George?
I'll bet they are. Okay, Lama, thanks very much.
And we turn now to the race for president. Sarah Palin hitting the campaign trail with Donald Trump as the billionaire opens up his biggest lead yet in New Hampshire. And more high-profile Republicans have come forward to endorse the frontrunner. ABC's Tom Yamas is in Des Moines, Iowa. Good morning to you, Tom.
Lara, good morning to you. With support growing for Donald Trump, he's still chipping away at Senator Ted Cruz. But with 10 days to go before the caucuses, Senator Ted Cruz is saying Donald Trump will, quote, not stop the gravy train for D.C. insiders.
This morning, more and more prominent Republicans turning their backs on Senator Ted Cruz. First, Iowa's governor, and now former Republican presidential nominee Bob Dole, telling the New York Times Cruz is a, quote, extremist and nobody likes him, saying Trump would do a better job because he's kind of a deal maker.
The Washington establishment is rushing over to support Donald Trump.
In the lead up to Iowa, Trump is winning the headline war.
Like I said yesterday in Iowa, no more pussyfooting around. It is time. You deserve the best.
The Sarah Palin endorsement tour firing up the Trump base.
Our vets deserve a commander-in-chief who will let them do their job and go kick ISIS.
Palin making her speech in Tulsa Wednesday personal, talking about her 26-year-old son, Track.
This is kind of an elephant in the room.
Police arrested Track Palin this week for allegedly assaulting his girlfriend. Authorities say the veteran also threatened to shoot himself with an AR-15 assault weapon. Palin telling the crowd her son is coping with PTSD, tying his troubles to a president she says neglects veterans.
The question, though, that comes from our own president, where they have to look at him and wonder, do you know what we go through?
But when Trump took the mic, he set his target on the Democrats who want to be president, especially Senator Bernie Sanders.
Can you imagine this guy, a socialist/communist, is doing well? No, he's beating Hillary Clinton. Can you believe this? This guy, he's a whack job. I really want to run against her, but I really would like to run against Bernie Sanders, too.
And the Trump campaign says they are working hard to win the Hawkeye state. They say for them, second place is not a victory. They want first place here in Iowa. George?
Okay, Tom, thanks very much. Let's talk to John Carl about all this right now. Closing in on those first votes in Iowa, John. Every single day counts, and Trump did win the news cycle with that Sarah Palin endorsement. But what about this argument that President Obama is to blame for Track Palin assaulting his girlfriend?
George, in politics, that's what we call a stretch. I've seen Barack Obama blamed for a lot of things. I'd never imagined when the story broke that Sarah Palin's son was charged with domestic violence that somehow this would be Obama's fault. But look, you know, Palin brings a lot of baggage, but there is no question this endorsement is still a very big deal for Trump. And you can see that in the reactions from the other candidates. They have all came out in response and praised Sarah Palin. Even Jeb Bush yesterday was saying nice things about Sarah Palin because she has influence with those conservatives in Iowa.
Talk about things you'd never imagine. The former Senate Majority Leader, Robert Dole, former Republican vice presidential candidate and presidential candidate, saying that Donald Trump would be a better president than a Republican Senator, Ted Cruz. You've got the establishment seeming to choose Trump over Cruz right now. Is that a problem for Cruz or an opportunity?
Well, look, the establishment attacks have not hurt at all throughout this campaign, but I think this may be different because it helps Trump make an argument that he is more electable. That's been the biggest challenge for Trump is whether or not he can win in November. So if you have establishment figures like the governor of Iowa, like Bob Dole, saying that he is more electable than Ted Cruz, I think that actually helps Trump and hurts Cruz.
One of the other dynamics you're seeing here with all this focus on Trump and Cruz right now, all the other candidates getting drowned out.
Absolutely. I mean, Marco Rubio, this should be a great opportunity for him. The two frontrunners are beating it out, but he can't get a word in edgewise.
Okay, John Carl, thanks very much. I'll have an exclusive interview with Ted Cruz. I'm going on the trail in New Hampshire. Bring that here tomorrow.
All right, terrific. And we're going to turn now to Wall Street and that roller coaster. Stocks falling in Asia this morning after another wild day here. The Dow tumbling 250 points. This as oil prices are also plunging to the lowest level in more than a decade. ABC's Rebecca Jarvis is here to explain it all to us. And good morning to you, Rebecca.
Good morning to you, Lara. And stocks are now down this year almost 10%. We know that when stocks fall in China, they fall here. And this morning, U.S. stocks are already pointing to a lower open.
This morning, Wall Street preparing for another day of wild swings after plunging Wednesday. The Dow dropping 566 points before clawing its way back to close down 249 points. The culprit behind the collapse, tanking oil prices, now $28 a barrel, the lowest level in 12 years. Welcome news for consumers. The national average for a gallon of gas this morning, $1.87. The majority of Americans now paying less than $2 a gallon at the pump. But that good news for consumers is also a significant blow to the energy industry, which lost 100,000 jobs last year and now risks losing even more if oil prices stay this low.
The market can handle bad news, but it can't handle uncertainty. So not knowing where the bottom is in oil causes a lot of angst among even the real professional money managers.
Investors also concerned that a slowdown in China, the world's second largest economy, could hit industries here like construction, technology, and manufacturing. The turbulence sending U.S. stocks down almost 10% for the year, wiping out more than $2 trillion in value. For the typical retirement savings account, that's a loss of nearly $8,300.
And as hard as that is to see, what we know from previous sell-offs is that the hardest thing to do is the very best thing you can do for your money. Those who stay the course are the ones who come out on top. The people who sell in the worst of it are the ones who end up losing the most.
It's always the hardest lesson to remember.
So
You're
tough.
right.
Yeah,
okay, Rebecca.
patience is a virtue.
Thanks very much, Rebecca. We're going to move on now to a new warning about hoverboards. Top government watchdog is calling for a suspension of all online sales of all hoverboards. There are concerns not just about all those fires we've seen, but also the falls. And ABC's Gio Benitez has the story.
This morning, with people falling and boards exploding. A damaging new report from the government says until further review, sales of these hoverboards should stop, especially online. Whether it's a $500 or a $5,000 model, the safety of all hoverboards called into question.
We've seen enough fall and fire hazards to believe that there could be core safety issues that need to be addressed.
Just a day before the safety announcement, a Northern California family says their Ford caught fire while being charged. The Ford with such fire under investigation. The family's 2 dogs killed.
It could have happened to my daughter.
The fires, one in a mall, have captured